I have been getting so many questions about what is going on with our house situation. So if you're new here, we have this house that we live in that we just bought the week before Christmas of 2020. It is May of 2021 right now. And we have our other house that we haven't sold yet from when we bought this house. And on almost every video I have made since I started making videos again in February of 2021, almost every one of them, at least one person has asked a question or made a comment about the other house and what are we doing and whatnot. So let's get into that today and just talk through it. Hi friends, and welcome to the Budget Bounce. If we haven't met yet, I'm Jen, and we talk all about living life on a budget, saving for our future, paying down our debt, and all the life that happens along the way on this channel. If those are things that interest you, then make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, tap on the bell, and that way you'll make sure that you never miss a video from me. So let's jump into this and talk about why we have two houses and two mortgages, especially during a seller's market that's happening right now. So I'm going to back up and talk a little bit about how we ended up with two homes. So we ended up buying a home in December of 2020. And when we started working on writing up the offer, I found out from our lender that we were not going to have to make that offer contingent on the sale of our other house, which we were completely shocked by. We actually thought that there was no way we would be able to do that. But that was the case, and it was a good thing because it was winter, snow had already started, and it was early November, but we had some early snow, and we just knew we had work to do on the house, and we had all the stuff we had to do before we moved. There was no way we were going to be able to get the house ready to put on the market, and so we agreed we were going to wait until the spring when the weather got nicer. That gave us more time and that kind of thing. In the meantime, our daughter and her family are living there, and they are doing the work for us. So they are making all the different improvements. They're doing all the shopping, putting all the sweat equity into it for us. And, Matt and I sat down and talked about the situation. When, January came, we had to pay that was our first month, we had to pay two mortgages. So we pay the old house on the 1st of every month, and we pay the new house on the 15th for the date that's due on the next month on the 1st. And we do that to try to stagger it. We get paid twice a month on the 1st and 15th. So we want to make sure that we are tackling those through each of those pay periods. Now, as the winter went on, we crunched numbers and looked at several things, and Matt and I have some challenges. And if you're new here, you have not heard about these, but if you've been around, you've heard me talking about these. We are in our mid to late 40s, and we didn't get our act together in regard to our money until I was 45 and Matt was 43. We've been doing this for 3 years, and we have made so many improvements to how we handle our money and all of that stuff. So there's lots of positive things happening there, but we are both still spenders, and we both still struggle with money. Now, I will also say that Matt and I both have very different relationships with money, and the way that we interact with it and the way that it makes us feel and that kind of thing, it's very different for me than it is for Matt. So as an example, I just put up a video about the fact that we just took on some more non-mortgage debt. I forgot to say that in the video, that I was focused on the non-mortgage debt, but we are taking on student loans right now to pay for Matt to go to grad school. I explained all of that. I'm not going to go into all of that here, but also to help us pay for some home repairs for things that happened here in this new house when our toilet broke in the master bedroom, and we ended up having water damage all over the bathroom, the bedroom, and in the kitchen below it. So we are taking out student loans, and that is the first time in 3 years that we have taken on non-mortgage debt. Okay. I did take out a HELOC a year ago, for those of you who are remembering that we did that, but that was traded out against our credit card that we had. So literally the HELOC is us paying down our credit card. Even though it's technically a HELOC now, that is our credit card debt. So I still consider that to be a credit card, and that is what we are paying on. So that was a trade, that wasn't additional. When we look at where we are with our non-mortgage debt, we had paid down about $110,000, $108,000, I think, by the end of April. And now here we are, getting all my numbers together and everything now that the student loan payments have started to come in and be made towards the school, and the stipends that are being sent to Matt. I'm now incorporating it into our budget, and we are using that money, the whatever extra, for the house. Okay, so that's what that new non-mortgage debt is. Now, I've had lots of comments about the fact that if we would just sell our other house, the HELOC would be gone, that mortgage would be gone, and we would be able to pay off some other things and probably not have to take out student loans for Matt's grad school, all of that. I totally, completely hear all of you saying that, but what I need all of you to understand, whether you agree with us or not, is that there are other things going on here. And I share a lot with you guys here on the channel, but there are some things in our life that I do not share about because they are just not things that I'm going to share on the YouTube channel. Not all of them involve us directly, and so it's not necessarily my story to tell or our story to tell. So when I am referencing we have these other things going on that are outside of our control, those are the types of things I'm talking about. And in addition to that, since Matt and I were so much older before we started getting our arms around all of this, we are not prepared for our retirement, and we do not have the luxury of time on our side because we were stupid. Literally, just some of it was we didn't have it, okay? We didn't have the finances to do this, but even after we knew better, we were not saving for our retirement. And I look at so many people that are out here in this world that I live in online, doing personal finance and reporting on all the things they're doing to get ready for their future, and so they don't have to work until they're 60 or 65 years old or 70. I see that and I'm so inspired by it, but we do not have the time that these 20 and 30 somethings have that are building up for their future. And so we have to fight multiple fronts at the same time. So we have to pay off our debt, we have to save for our retirement, and we have to save for life that is happening. And I think I'm probably going to do a separate video on this, but you guys, there are so many things happening right now that are it's like debt is calling to us. And the fact that all we've done so far is take out the student loan, I know there are so many of you who do not agree with this, but this is such an improvement for us. I cannot tell you how awful things were for the 9 years before we started living life on a budget and monitoring what we were doing. And even though we are not frugal and we are not gazelle intense, we are intentional about what we're doing, and we make plans. If we go over budget, we make plans and shift things elsewhere. Now, that is definitely impacting our long-term goals in the fact that every time we overspend in a category, that's $100 or $200 that we can't put towards our financial future or towards saving for something that we need right now, like repairing the house. Okay, so I'm very aware of that, and we are talking about that constantly. I'm working on doing some things to help rectify that, but there are 3 people in this household, and it's just been a little bit of a challenge, including me. I'm a part of the spending problem. Sorry if I just hit my mic. I'm a part of that spending problem. And so I recognize all of that. You guys are seeing that in our budget reports. I am owning that all day long. Okay, so know that it's not like we aren't aware. Matt and I have this long-term strategy that we are working on. And because we have so many different things that we have to tackle right now at the same time, we are also trying to look down the road to what can we do now to help us 20 years from now, even if we don't have the money to put in a Roth IRA or to put into our 401k or other retirement accounts. What can we do now? And going back to, we have 2 houses and 2 mortgages, the conversation that Matt and I had was, we want to make our old home an investment property. It is the only way that he and I are going to be able to do that anytime soon, is to hang on to this house. The kids are paying us rent. They are doing improvements while they live there. And if they decide to move out, then we can rent it out to someone else. And we can actually become, it's obviously our daughter, so it's family, but we can become landlords to other people if we need to. We want to keep this home so that we have it as a separate stream of income. And honestly, ever since I met Matt, it's been 14 years now, ever since I met Matt, he had said, if I ever had a lot of money, if I won the lottery or something and I had extra money, I would love to run a property management company and own several properties and that kind of thing. So this has been something he's been interested in for a long time. Our daughter is very responsible. We are very lucky that they are fantastic tenants and they are doing good work for us. And it's a win-win for everyone involved. And they're about 4 minutes away right now. They are right around the corner. Driving, that is. They're about 4 minutes away driving. So they're really close, which means we can help her, she can help us. It works out in a lot of different fronts in the short run, but in the long run, Matt and I want to keep this house for our retirement. So this is us investing in our future. You don't have to agree with it. I welcome anyone's opinions if you want to share them, but that's not going to change the course that we have decided to take here. We are looking 20 years in the future, and what can we do now to prepare for that? And since we can't put $2,000 or $3,000 a month or more into retirement right now because of all the debt that we have to focus on and all the life that's happening, then we are choosing to have that investment run through this other home. So we are not going to be getting rid of our old home at this point in time. And yes, we are aware that it is a seller's market, and we did do the number crunching on that. Just so you guys are aware, I don't know if you know this, but I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to spreadsheets. So I have spent hours and hours crunching numbers, trying to figure out what will and won't work. And is this a risk? Is what we're doing right now a risk? Absolutely. Is it a risk that we are willing to take? Yes. And the thing about personal finances, it is personal. So some of you are very upset with the choices that we are making, and I am not taking away from that. That is not what you would choose to do. This is what we are choosing to do, given all of the different variables, including some things that you are not aware of, that prepare us for our future, because I'm telling you guys, we have about $50,000 saved for the 2 of us for our retirement. I will be 49 next month. Matt is 46. That is scary. That is so incredibly scary. So this is what we have decided to do to try to take control of some things that are in our future. Now, do we have a little bit of flexibility in that I could reduce how much I'm putting in my 401k? Yes, we do. We are choosing not to do that right now so that we can build that up, because we need to get those funds built up so that we can start getting some compounding going on. Because again, we do not have the luxury of time for all of that to build and build and build on itself. We actually don't want to have to work till we're 65, but that may be what we have to do. And that all ties into the strategy of Matt working for the state, and why, when he researched that and said, I think I want to go work for the state, and here are all the things that will come out of it. And we've realized a lot of those benefits since he started working there. He just had his 3-year anniversary in the month of May. And, that is something that plays into our long-term strategy as well. I talked about that in my last video in regard to why he is in grad school, because that will help with our long-term goals for building up his retirement and whatnot. So now you guys have a clearer picture. Again, you don't have to agree with the path that we are taking right now. And I am certainly not trying to alienate anyone. I want to share what I can about our story. There are just some things that I cannot get into that are just too personal and not necessarily for me to be sharing, or not things that I want to be sharing. This is me being as transparent as I possibly can on a YouTube channel that I'm putting ourselves out there. I'm putting our story out there publicly for scrutiny. I can take that. And I welcome the opinions because other people may need to hear that. It's not going to change what we're doing, but other people who watch this video or watch my channel who are also on a journey to financial freedom, those people may need to hear this stuff. And so I want you to continue to comment and share what you think. Now, I ask that you be kind and respectful, but there are two sides to every story. So just because this is what we're doing doesn't mean that it's good for someone else. So talking about the pros and cons are important. Let's do that in the comments down below so that others can learn. So now I have gotten you up to speed on what's going on. Now you know we are going to have 2 mortgages for the foreseeable future. We have no plans to sell our house. We are taking out student loans for right now. I finally today signed the contract to get the work done to repair the house from February when the toilet broke. And it looks like they will finally be starting in June sometime. So about 4 months after it all happened, the work will begin. Going back to that for just a minute to talk about that last video, and there were some comments that talked about, we get a high off of taking out loans and whatever, some things like that. I'm here to tell you that is not the case for me. I cannot speak. Matt hasn't talked to me about how it makes him feel, but I'm here to tell you that is not the physical reaction I am having to this situation. I actually am having a negative physical reaction to this. And here's why this is good, you guys. Because 4 years ago now, in 2017, that is not anything that would have stopped me. We would have just kept going anyway, because we could afford the monthly payment. Those are things that got us into trouble, not budgeting and focusing on can we afford the payment or not. Those are the things that led us to the mess that we are in. No retirement, way, way too much debt, and not being prepared for our future. But today we are very, very conscious of this, and I had put this in the budget. I worked on it this morning. I put this in the budget, and adding that line item just did not feel good at all. So if you're wondering, about that, about me, I can't speak for Matt, but about me, this does not feel good. Taking out new non-mortgage debt does not feel good at all. And we are working on a plan to try to get that paid off as soon as possible. And honestly, if we don't have to use it, if we don't need it for something, and I mean need it for something, we are going to turn it around and pay it right back. That is our plan. We do not want to add to our debt any more than we already have. Yes, we added a mortgage. Yep, we sure did. That was an investment for our future. Did we have to move? Nope, we didn't. And we had no plans. It wasn't like it was a strategic, let's move and save this house and have it be an investment for our future. That wasn't our plan. It was a truly emotional move that we made after I was very sick in the fall, and we lost a pet unexpectedly, and my parents were very sick in the fall, and all of these things, my parents and I got COVID. So all of those things definitely left us vulnerable, and we made decisions, financial decisions, big ones, during a time when we shouldn't have been doing that. I mean, anybody that you talk to in the financial arena will tell you, do not make financial decisions when you are at the height of emotions, whether they are good, bad, or otherwise. And that's exactly what we did. So again, that ship has already sailed. There's no turning that back. We are in this house and we are not going anywhere. but we also are not going to sell the other house. That's for our future. That's what came out of this. That was not our intention. We thought we would sell in the spring. And we know, seller's market, we could probably sell that house for more than it's worth right now. And that would be fantastic. And that would take care of some short-term things right now today. But Matt's and my focus is down the road, 20 years from now. What are we doing? What can we do to prepare for that? So again, I welcome any comments you'd like to leave below, and let's get the conversation going, because there are definitely lots of pros and cons to the decisions that we have made, and there are lots of people who have opinions one way or the other. Let's talk about it. In the meantime, if you want to see more about our new house, then I will direct you to this playlist right here, it's got several videos in it about the entire process. It does include a video where we talk about all the dollars and cents. So for those of you who love my spreadsheets and all that good stuff, that's in there, and I will meet you guys over there.